If you're a fan of massive screen-clearing blasts, get ready for some huge damage numbers with this build. This build sports incredible AoE clear and even more impressive boss damage. Welcome to the Maxroll channel, I'm Sarok and this is my Bone Spirit guide for Necromancer in Diablo 4 Season 6. Season 6 has brought some interesting changes to this build. Every season, a new approach to generating essence has brought in new tools and techniques to allow this build to continue to shine among all Necromancer builds. This season is no different, however we have a new tool in our kit. The lucky hit chance to restore rolling on weapons and offhands has a massive increase. With a single non-GA roll on a two-hander, you can reach over 100%, and a single non-GA roll on a focus and a main hand can also roll over 100 regeneration on lucky hit. Great things, neither one of these have to be masterworked or GA. To ensure that the lucky hit chance proc frequently enough, we now utilize Fist of Face in this build. With a GA on lucky hit chance and a single masterwork, this will alone grant over 100% lucky hit chance. What is truly unique about the build this season is the uniques. The build utilizes 7 uniques with only 3 legendaries, with each unique serving its own unique role. Shaco offers a massive cooldown reduction in max essence to make sure we're always reaching the 275 max essence to empower Banished Lord's Talisman, which not only grants a huge multiplier, but grants overpower on every cast. To further scale the overpower damage, Blood Moon Breaches has an insane 150% multiplier on a pants slot. Path of Trigula boots are the primary enabler of the maximum essence. With a high roll of number of splinters, these boots offer upwards of 80 maximum essence during combat. Starless Skies not only provides a 50% multiplier, but every single line on this item screams Bone Spirit and grants huge core ranks on a ring. To finish off the uniques, we have the new Shroud of False Death. This item's implicit grants +1 to all passive ranks, which offer huge multipliers for this build and a ton of utility. Alright. Enough about the uniques. Let's talk about what makes this build actually do the crazy damage this season. As stated earlier, there's only 3 aspects in this entire build. Season 6, we were introduced to a new aspect called Phasing Poltergeist. This aspect spawns 3 more Bone Spirits that deal 40% damage each. That's pretty good, right? Essentially 120% multiplier. Well, that's not all it does. When this is paired with the other aspect, Imprisoned Spirit, this allows when a Bone Spirit explodes, you get a secondary explosion. So what does that mean? Well, with these 2 aspects interact with each other and all overpower, this grants a total of 8 Bone Spirit explosions per cast. The final aspect for this build is Grasping Veins, which grants a big multiplier and can help you reach your critical strike chance if you are slightly under. For the skill tree, you guessed it, we're maxing out Bone Spirit with as many ranks as we can get, wanting to enhance to reset the cooldown of 7 seconds, and the Ghastly Bone Spirit for an additional 10% critical strike chance. For passives, we're taking Imperfectly Balanced, Titan's Fall, Death's Embrace, Avulsion, Compound Fracture, and Finality, all as massive damage multipliers. To reach critical strike chance, we are taking Serration, Inspiring Leader for 16% increased critical strike chance, and Memento Mori, which buffs your Skeletal Warrior and Mages, granting more critical strike chance and overpower damage. Utilizing the Watt rune to cast Horrid Decrepify, we also get the benefit of speccing into Abhorrent Decrepify without needing to cast Decrepify. This opens up an active skill slot, which allows us then to use Blight. With the Enhanced Blight for a larger pool and Supernatural Blight, we get an additional 20% damage multiplier. This season brings us a new ultimate, and it is incredible. Soul Rift grants Barrier, with Supreme granting a 30% multiplier, and Prime also makes enemies vulnerable. To finish up the active skills, we have Corpse Tendrils that pull all the enemies in, Enhanced to slow them, and Blighted grants additional Blood Orbs to fuel Blood Beguts Blood Paragon node. Bone Prison traps mobs within the prison and empowers the Imprisoned Spirit aspect while also making enemies vulnerable with the Enhanced. Finally, we have Blood Mist, and since we use Shaco, we don't need to spec into it as Shaco grants the skills naturally. This is primarily your defensive and unstoppable ability. The Paragon in Season 6 has changed the dynamics of Paragon construction substantially. With very specific boards that enable this build, we do not have much variance in creating Paragons. The first board we're using, Corporeal Glyph, Board 2, we're using Bone Graft with Essence Glyph. The Bone Graft legendary node grants additional max essence and ramping damage throughout the fight. Board 3, we're using the new Frailty board, and we're slotting in Dominate here. The legendary node grants a massive multiplier to cursed enemies, and with using the Watt rune, everything is always cursed. The fourth board is Blood Begets Blood, with the new Eliminator glyph. This board you can use as your filler for main stats if you're short on activating the additional bonuses from rare nodes. The legendary node grants a 50% multiplier when we consume 5 blood orbs. The final board is Bloodbath with Amplify. The legendary node grants an insane 70% multiplier for overpowered damage, and you guessed it, we're overpowering with every hit in this build.